There are moments in life when we notice a strange shift in someone's energy toward us. Their eyes linger a little longer, their words carry hidden emotion, and their presence seems drawn to us with an almost magnetic force. Sometimes the surprising part is not the affection itself, but the fact that it comes from someone younger. This situation often confuses people because society tends to frame love through age expectations. Yet the human soul does not always follow the rules of logic or convention. One of the most surprising reasons a younger person may feel deeply drawn to you is emotional depth. Many people move through life surrounded by shallow interactions and surface level connections. When someone encounters a person who carries wisdom, calmness, and emotional understanding, it can feel incredibly rare. Your maturity, the way you listen, the way you respond with thought rather than reaction, creates a sense of safety. To someone still discovering themselves, this presence can feel almost magical. They are not only attracted to you as a person, they are drawn to the sense of stability and meaning they feel around you. Another reason lies in authenticity. Younger people today are constantly surrounded by noise, social expectations, trends, and pressure to present a certain image. When they meet someone who is comfortable being genuine, it creates a powerful contrast. Your authenticity becomes something they admire deeply. You are not trying to impress the world. You simply exist as yourself. This quiet confidence sends a powerful message. It shows them what emotional freedom looks like. In many cases, they do not just fall for you. They fall for the possibility of becoming more authentic themselves. The third reason is psychological projection. Sometimes a younger person sees in you qualities they hope to develop within themselves. Your patience, your perspective, your emotional balance. These traits represent the person they aspire to become. Love in these moments becomes a mirror. Through their admiration for you, they are also discovering parts of their own identity. It is less about age and more about resonance between two inner worlds. However, situations like this require awareness and emotional responsibility. Attraction is powerful, but wisdom asks us to understand the deeper forces behind it. When someone younger feels strongly about you, it is often because your presence awakens something meaningful in them, a sense of guidance, inspiration, or emotional awakening. Recognizing this allows you to respond with kindness and clarity rather than confusion. In the end, human connections rarely follow predictable patterns. Love is not measured by numbers or timelines. It is measured by the way two souls recognize something familiar within each other. And sometimes the person who sees your value most clearly is someone who is still learning how powerful genuine connection can truly be. Emotional depth and maturity have a quiet but powerful way of influencing the people around us. These qualities are not always loud or obvious, yet they create a presence that others can feel almost immediately. When someone younger encounters a person who carries emotional understanding, patience, and inner balance, it often creates a strong sense of admiration and curiosity. In a world where many interactions are quick, reactive, and surface level, emotional depth feels rare. It stands out without trying to stand out. A younger person is often still navigating their own emotional landscape. They are learning how to handle disappointment, excitement, conflict, and personal growth. During this stage of life, they may encounter many people who react impulsively or communicate without much reflection. When they meet someone who responds with calmness, thoughtful words, and genuine understanding, it can feel incredibly different. Instead of feeling judged or misunderstood, they feel seen and respected. This experience can create a strong emotional pull. Maturity also carries a certain stability that can be deeply reassuring. It is not simply about age, but about how a person handles life. Someone who has learned to listen before speaking, to understand before reacting, and to remain grounded during difficult moments radiates a sense of security. For a younger individual who may still be discovering their emotional strength, being around that kind of energy can feel comforting. It creates an environment where they feel safe expressing themselves without fear of ridicule or rejection. Another powerful aspect of emotional depth is the ability to hold meaningful conversations. When someone speaks with insight, empathy, and clarity, it encourages deeper connection. Younger individuals often crave this kind of dialogue because it stimulates their thoughts and emotions in ways that ordinary conversations do not. They feel intellectually and emotionally engaged, which strengthens their admiration. Emotional maturity also demonstrates self-awareness. A person who understands their own feelings and motivations tends to interact with others in a more balanced way. They are less likely to create unnecessary drama or confusion. This consistency builds trust, and trust is a powerful foundation for emotional attraction. When someone younger senses that they can rely on a person's stability and wisdom, their respect can gradually transform into deeper affection. In many cases, the attraction is not purely romantic at first. It begins as admiration for the way someone carries themselves, the calm confidence they show, and the thoughtful way they treat others. Over time, that admiration can grow into a stronger emotional connection because emotional depth offers something many people quietly search for: understanding, peace, and a sense of genuine human connection. A calm and understanding presence has a powerful effect on the people around us. In a world where many interactions are rushed, emotionally reactive, or filled with tension, encountering someone who remains steady and composed can feel deeply comforting. Calmness is not simply about silence or quiet behavior. It reflects an inner balance that allows a person to face situations without unnecessary chaos. When others sense this kind of stability, they naturally feel more relaxed and open in that person's presence. For someone younger, this type of presence can feel especially meaningful. Many younger individuals are still learning how to manage emotions, relationships, and the pressures of life. They may experience moments of uncertainty, frustration, or confusion as they try to understand themselves and the world around them. When they meet someone who listens patiently and responds with empathy instead of judgment, it creates a sense of emotional safety. They feel that their thoughts and feelings can exist without being dismissed or criticized. Understanding also plays an important role in this dynamic. A person who takes the time to truly listen, rather than simply waiting to respond, shows a level of emotional awareness that many people rarely encounter. When someone feels heard, it builds trust almost instantly. Younger individuals often remember these moments strongly because they may not always find this kind of attention in everyday interactions. The ability to offer thoughtful responses, gentle guidance, or even simple reassurance can make a deep impression. Calm individuals also tend to handle challenges with patience. Instead of reacting impulsively to conflict or stress, they approach situations with clarity and reflection. This behavior demonstrates emotional strength and maturity. For someone who is still developing their own sense of stability, witnessing this type of response can be inspiring. It shows them that it is possible to navigate life without becoming overwhelmed by every difficulty. Admiration often grows naturally from this experience. When someone feels emotionally safe around a person, they begin to associate that person with comfort, wisdom, and reliability. These qualities can be very attractive because they represent something stable in an unpredictable world. The calm individual becomes someone they trust not only for conversation, but also for emotional grounding. Over time, the consistent experience of peace and understanding can deepen this admiration. It is not simply about personality, but about how someone makes others feel. When a person's presence reduces anxiety, encourages openness, and brings a sense of balance, people are naturally drawn toward that energy. For a younger person, this feeling can evolve into a strong emotional connection because it fulfills a quiet desire many people carry: the desire to feel safe, respected, and truly understood. Authenticity has become increasingly rare in a world where many people feel pressured to present a perfect image. Social expectations, trends, and constant comparison often encourage individuals to hide their true thoughts and emotions behind carefully constructed appearances. Because of this, genuine behavior stands out in a powerful way. When someone lives honestly, speaks sincerely, and acts without pretending to be something they are not, their presence naturally draws attention. People sense when someone is real, and that sincerity creates a strong emotional impact. For a younger person especially, authenticity can feel refreshing and deeply inspiring. Younger individuals often grow up surrounded by social pressure, from media, peers, and cultural expectations that suggest how they should behave, think, or present themselves. Many feel the need to follow these patterns in order to be accepted. When they encounter someone who is comfortable being themselves without seeking approval, it creates a striking contrast. This kind of confidence is not loud or arrogant, it is quiet and steady. It shows that a person does not need to hide behind an image to be valued. Authentic people also tend to communicate with honesty and clarity. They do not manipulate situations or say things merely to impress others. Instead, their words reflect their true feelings and beliefs. This level of honesty can feel deeply reassuring to someone who may be used to dealing with mixed signals or insincere interactions. It allows conversations to feel meaningful and real rather than forced or superficial. The younger person begins to realize that they are experiencing something uncommon, a connection that is not based on appearances or temporary impressions. Another reason authenticity stands out is because it reflects self-acceptance. A person who is genuine has usually spent time understanding themselves. They are aware of their strengths and imperfections, yet they are not afraid to be seen as they truly are. This openness creates a sense of freedom in the environment around them. People feel less pressure to pretend when they are near someone who lives honestly. For someone younger who may still be searching for their identity, witnessing this type of self-acceptance can be incredibly influential. Over time, admiration grows from this experience. Authenticity sends a silent message that life does not have to be lived through constant comparison or performance. It suggests that being real is more powerful than being perfect. When a younger person observes this way of living, they may feel both respect and emotional attraction toward the person who embodies it. What they are responding to is not just personality, but the rare courage to exist openly in a world where many people feel compelled to hide who they truly are. Younger individuals often find themselves drawn to people who possess qualities they quietly wish to develop within their own lives. During the early stages of adulthood, many people are still shaping their identity, exploring their values, and learning how to navigate the complexities of emotions, relationships, and responsibilities. In this period of self-discovery, encountering someone who seems grounded, confident, or emotionally balanced can create a deep sense of admiration. It is not only about attraction to the person, but also about inspiration for who they themselves hope to become. When a younger person notices traits such as patience, wisdom, emotional stability, or self-confidence in someone else, those traits can feel almost magnetic. These qualities represent growth and experience, things that cannot be rushed, but are gradually built through time and reflection. Seeing them embodied in another person makes the possibility of personal development feel more real and attainable. It provides a living example of what maturity and self-awareness can look like. This admiration often begins in subtle ways. A younger individual might observe how someone handles challenges without becoming overwhelmed, how they communicate calmly during disagreements, or how they remain authentic even when others feel pressure to conform. These behaviors demonstrate inner strength. Instead of reacting impulsively or seeking constant validation, the person shows balance and clarity. For someone who is still learning how to manage emotions and decisions, this type of behavior can feel both fascinating and reassuring. As admiration grows, the younger person may start to reflect on their own behavior and choices. They might ask themselves questions about how they respond to situations, how they treat others, or how they express their feelings. In this way, the person they admire becomes a quiet mirror for their own growth. The connection they feel is partly emotional, but it is also connected to their personal aspirations. They are not only drawn to the individual, they are drawn to the qualities that represent their own potential. Sometimes this admiration gradually transforms into a deeper emotional attachment. When someone inspires growth and encourages self-reflection simply through their presence, it creates a meaningful bond. The younger individual may begin to associate that person with guidance, clarity, and emotional security. These feelings can easily develop into affection because inspiration and emotional connection often grow together. In many cases, the attraction reflects a natural human tendency to seek role models who embody qualities we value. When someone represents patience, authenticity, and inner confidence, they become more than just a person in someone's life. They become a symbol of what emotional maturity and personal growth can look like when someone truly learns to understand themselves and the world around them. Psychological projection is a subtle but powerful process that often shapes the way people experience attraction. It occurs when someone unconsciously places their own hopes, desires, or unrecognized qualities onto another person. Instead of simply seeing the individual as they are, the mind begins to attach deeper meaning to their presence. What begins as simple admiration can gradually evolve into a strong emotional connection. because the person starts to represent something important within the admirer's inner world. For younger individuals who are still discovering their identity, this process can be particularly influential. During periods of growth, people often search for direction, inspiration, and understanding. When they encounter someone who seems confident, emotionally balanced, or wise, those qualities can trigger a strong internal response. The younger person may begin to see that individual as a reflection of everything they wish to develop within themselves. In this way, admiration becomes intertwined with personal aspiration. At first, the attraction may feel like deep respect. The younger individual notices the way the person carries themselves, how they speak, how they respond to challenges, and how they treat others. These observations create an image in the mind that goes beyond simple appreciation. The admired person begins to symbolize strength, stability, or emotional clarity. Over time, this symbolic meaning can intensify feelings of closeness and fascination. Projection can also create a sense of emotional familiarity. The mind naturally seeks connections with people who reflect parts of our inner desires or unresolved feelings. When someone appears to embody qualities we long for, such as confidence, wisdom, or calmness, we may feel as though we have found something deeply meaningful. The emotional energy connected to those desires becomes linked to the person who seems to represent them. This connection can feel powerful, even if the individual themselves has not actively encouraged it. Another aspect of projection is that it often fills gaps in personal understanding. When a younger person sees someone who appears to have clarity or purpose, they may imagine that this person holds answers to questions they themselves are still exploring. This perception can strengthen emotional attachment because the admired individual becomes associated with guidance, inspiration, and growth. As this process unfolds, admiration gradually deepens into attraction. The person is no longer simply someone who possesses admirable qualities, they become emotionally significant. The younger individual feels drawn to them not only because of who they are, but because of what they represent internally. In many ways, the connection reflects both a genuine appreciation of the other person and a deeper search for personal development and meaning within one's own life. Awareness and emotional responsibility become essential when navigating connections where strong admiration or attraction exists, especially when one person is younger and still discovering their emotional identity. Human relationships are complex, and emotions can grow quickly when someone feels inspired, understood, or deeply seen. In such situations, the presence of awareness helps both individuals understand what is truly happening beneath the surface of their feelings. Without this awareness, emotions can easily become confusing, overwhelming, or misinterpreted. Emotional responsibility begins with understanding the influence one person can have on another. When someone admires you deeply, your words, actions, and behavior may carry more meaning than you realize. A simple gesture of kindness, encouragement, or attention can feel incredibly significant to someone who already sees you as an important figure in their emotional world. Recognizing this influence allows a person to act thoughtfully rather than carelessly. It encourages patience, honesty, and respect in every interaction. For the younger individual, these feelings may be intense because they are still learning how to interpret emotional experiences. Admiration can sometimes blend with curiosity, inspiration, or the desire for guidance. Without clarity, these emotions might be mistaken for something deeper or more permanent than they truly are. This is why emotional awareness from the more experienced person becomes so important. Their ability to remain grounded helps prevent misunderstandings and protects the emotional well-being of both people. Emotional responsibility also means maintaining clear boundaries. Boundaries are not about rejecting connection, but about preserving balance and respect within it. When someone demonstrates maturity by being honest about feelings, intentions, and expectations, it creates an atmosphere of trust. The younger person can then understand the nature of the relationship more clearly instead of building unrealistic hopes or assumptions. Another important aspect of emotional responsibility is compassion. Feelings of admiration or attraction are natural human experiences, and they should not be dismissed or ridiculed. Responding with empathy allows the younger individual to feel respected, even if the connection does not develop in the way they imagined. Kindness and understanding can turn a potentially confusing emotional situation into an opportunity for growth and self-awareness. In many cases, the most meaningful response to such admiration is guidance through example. By demonstrating calmness, honesty, and integrity, a person shows how emotional maturity works in real life. This approach allows the connection to remain respectful and meaningful while ensuring that both individuals continue growing in a healthy and balanced way. In the end, connections like these reveal something deeper about human nature. Sometimes admiration appears where we least expect it, and sometimes the person who sees something special in us is someone who is still learning about the world and about themselves. What matters most is not simply the emotion itself, but the awareness with which we respond to it. When we approach such situations with maturity, honesty, and compassion, we transform what could be confusion into understanding. Every meaningful connection carries an opportunity for growth. The younger person may be discovering inspiration, learning what emotional depth looks like, and recognizing qualities they wish to develop in their own life. At the same time, the person being admired is given a chance to practice wisdom, patience, and emotional responsibility. In this way, the connection becomes more than just attraction. It becomes a quiet moment of learning for both souls. Life often brings people together for reasons that are not immediately obvious. Sometimes those encounters are meant to awaken awareness, to show someone what authenticity looks like, or to remind us that our presence can influence others more deeply than we realize. When we recognize this, we begin to treat relationships not as accidents, but as meaningful interactions that shape who we become. So if you ever sense that someone younger looks at you with unusual admiration or affection, pause for a moment and reflect. Behind those emotions may be inspiration, curiosity, and the desire to grow. The most powerful response is not to react with ego or confusion, but with quiet wisdom. Because in the end, the way we handle someone's feelings often reveals the true depth of our own character.